Ah, and I thought my jokes were bad. But this is the Ronnie Vegas podcast with your boy DeJoy. And they're like dogs chasing a car. They wouldn't know what to do with one if they caught it.
Oh man, I know he said
What's
that.
up, everybody? Ronnie Vegas podcast, episode 7.
Indeed.
The Force Awakens.
Okay, we don't have to go.
I am
We don't
Ronnie
have to
Vegas.
go into those. We don't have to go into those shit movies.
We're gonna run out of them eventually. I am Ronnie Vegas, and with me as always,
Your boy DeJoy. I
that's
did
right.
tell
And we-
Ronnie that his Joker impression was fantastic a couple weeks ago, and so that's why he threw the Heath
I'd
Ledger
do it
out
again. I
there.
tried. And with us today, we have a very special guest, Rob Baker, in the house. Say hi, Rob. That's right. All right. So, how we doing, DeJoy? How we doing?
I am doing fantastic. One thing that we normally do before this is we kind of look for some news and stuff, and I didn't do any of that. So, do you have anything?
You know,
you'd like
I have been
Good.
all week, because I prep. And there's not really much to talk about besides, the diddler's still on the loose, but some people are coming forward talking about, videos he's got and people he's diddled. And that's about it in the news, really. They're cleaning up the bridge that, went down, and Boeing had another fucking...
Boeing had multiple incidents over the past
Multiple
2 weeks
incidents.
since we've updated that.
No one died or anything.
No, of course not. Just minor things.
How about who cares? There's not really much news. So, but there is some news, actually. There's some remodeling going on at Exotica Dispensary, Route 37, Akwesasne. They have all your premium flour, your dabs, your edibles, your nano-infused drinks and slushies and coffee. And today, in a blueberry blunt wrap, I have, I can't believe I'm going to smoke this, but I have some Meatloaf Kush.
Meatloaf Kush?
That is correct.
Does it smell like meatloaf?
No, not really.
I wonder where they got the name Meatloaf Kush from.
I don't know. No, I honestly think people are just like, what's the name of that?
Do you think there's like a ground beef Kush and a breadcrumbs Kush that they mix together to make a meatloaf Kush?
Do you think there's a turkey Kush?
Why would there be
Turkey meat Kush?
Who puts turkey in their meatloaf?
No, turkey burgers.
But like it's
No?
meatloaf.
Hello?
It's meatloaf.
Hello?
You
Okay.
didn't say anything about turkey.
Yeah, meat. What kind of meat? Doesn't have
It's
to
always
be
ground beef. That's what meatloaf is made out of. It's ground beef.
Vegetarian meatloaf. There's vegetarian meatloaf.
That's literally an oxymoron. Vegetarian meat.
There's yes. There.
Speaking of
You know what?
oxymoron, Ronnie
Let me
is one.
smoke my fucking meatloaf, please. Thank you. Hit the music.
What music? The Meatloaf song? I don't know a fucking Meatloaf song. If you were
I was
smoking
talking to
Khalifa
myself.
Kush, I'd put on Wiz Khalifa. If you were smoking Snoop Dogg's weed, I'd put on Snoop Dogg. But you're smoking Meatloaf Kush?
And I would do anything for Kush.
What was that?
You don't know meatloaf? That's sad.
No,
really.
I've never heard of Meatloaf.
You've never. Rob, can you please?
Yo.
Can you just jump in right now? I know we haven't done your official intro, but can you please take care of this uncultured swine that I have with me?
I don't even know where to start. Like, if you don't know Meatloaf, I just can't do that.
No,
I mean-
okay. Meatloaf is apparently one person. It's not even a band. It's one person.
He's
Yeah.
a big dude. He was a wad of meat. He was like a loaf.
He passed away 2
Yeah.
years ago.
He also played Bob.
Bad Out of Hell. Bad Out of Hell was a great album. I don't care what anybody says.
He played Bob in Fight Club. He also played Jack Black's dad in The Pick of Destiny.
Yeah, apparently.
Not apparently,
Yep.
he did.
Well, I'm just looking at
And his
He-
biggest hit was from, I think it was from the Bad Out of Hell album, and I think.
Yeah,
Pretty
it was.
sure. And it was I Would Do Anything for
Anything
Love.
for love.
But I won't do crack.
He did Bad Out of Hell 2,
Never
Back
heard.
to Hell, Bad Out of Hell 3, The Monster is Loose.
It was kind of a theme thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and if he wasn't dead, there'd be Bat Out of Hell 4. Just one more time, please.
He won a
Yep.
Grammy for best solo rock vocal performance for "I'd Do Anything for Love."
He looked like an overweight version of Yngwie Malmsteen.
I'm
Wow.
obscure, but heck,
Yeah,
only
I mean,
picture they
have you
have
ever
here
seen
is
him in the
from-
same place at the same time? Never have.
I mean,
Wait.
yeah. What the fuck? An overweight. So now when the poor Alex, he's gonna have to spell check Yngwie.
Yeah,
Malmsteen.
good luck with that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What
I-
was
Say it
he's-
one more
I-
time for editing, please. One more time.
Yngwie Malmsteen.
who the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What are we talking about here?
He's a guitar player, very famous.
He's like the best guitar player that's ever lived with
That
ever.
is the we'll
No, don't
get
even
into that.
Don't even start. Blasphemous.
Eddie Hooser. So yeah, you know what? This is actually pretty good. And also, I would like to fully endorse this new product here, which is a Choice Lab Dual. Alex, you were pretty fond of this when I showed this to you.
I told him to send it to me, but obviously we didn't want to
That
break any crazy
Any
laws.
federal laws. So as you
Sending-
can see, it has a sativa strain and an indica strain in the same pen. And I don't know if these are exclusive at Exotica in Akwesasne, but I know this is the only place I can find them out there. And there's about 100 different dispensaries. So it comes in a nice little box here. And what it is you got the sativa and the indica, and you switch back and forth between them. You take the little goop saver out of there, so when you put it in your pocket, you don't get a lot of goop.
A lot of goop. And then he dies.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's how it
No,
happens.
but it's really good. Oh my fuck! It's a 2-grammer, gram on each side, fully endorsed.
While Ronnie is dying here, I would love to put in a little clip of how when he texted me a picture of it, he texted me a great video when I asked him what it was, and I'm gonna put that right here.
So it's a two-sider. White truffle is sativa, and the indica, and you fucking switch it back and forth between the two. And that's it. You just take a pull out of there.
This was the Ronnie Vegas
That
podcast.
wasn't until he died. Look at that face. He's dead. Get a drink of water, brother. Get a drink of water.
Speaking of which, let's do a taste test, shall we?
You got another gin and juice? Oh,
Yeah, we get. I got a little mini here. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. This is how much I cough on the daily at work. People deal with it. Just it's a disability. Leave me alone. I got a mini here, and since Rob is a guest, I thought we would drink some proper 12. Cause come on, laddie, let's fight.
No.
Let's fight.
Nope.
Aye, laddie. Taste. Irish whiskey. Conor McGregor.
oh, you have
Let's
proper
see what
12.
this
Sorry,
is about.
I completely zoned out because I was reading about meatloaf.
Where the fuck is everyone? Where the fuck is everyone?
Worst acting performance
Twelve.
I've ever seen, by the way.
That's so funny because last week I told Ronnie that I had that clip of Conor McGregor walking in and saying, "Where the fuck is everyone?" And I said I couldn't wait to
Where
use
the
it.
fuck
So I
is
can't wait to use it here.
So proper 12 Irish apple. That is very, very good. Very appley too. Reminds me of apple pie moonshine. Not a paid sponsor. Where the fuck is everyone?
You know that
guy
Meatloaf
hasn't
met.
fought in a while.
You know that Meatloaf met John F. Kennedy.
Um,
Not only did he meet him, but he met him on
Conspiracy
the day he
theory.
was assassinated.
I was just gonna say conspiracy theory.
Mm.
Meatloaf was the second gunman.
Was he the second gunman?
Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Go ahead.
Meatloaf had seen the president when he arrived at Dallas Love Field after hearing about the assassination. So after he committed the assassination, he went to the hospital.
Yes, because I watch a lot of crime documentaries and shows and stuff, and the killers like to insert themselves.
Into the
And
investigation. Yeah, I think
what
they had
better way
already
to
caught Oswald at that point.
insert right at the hospital?
That's quite a way to insert. That doesn't.
I'm sorry.
Did you just make
You
a
know,
docking gesture?
He definitely did. So I don't. Why was
I
he
would like to bring
docking
up-
with the dead president?
I would like to bring up one more time that this meatloaf kush, this is fucking good weed. I will tell you right now. I'm gonna hype them up one more time. Thanks a lot, Exotica, for being here. Episode 7. I just stopped in the other day, Lawrence. They're doing some remodeling in the back. That's why I brought that up. But Exotica, Route 37, Akwesasne. Tell them Ronnie Vegas sent you. Get their meatloaf kush, bud.
Oh my god. He was in
Oh my
Rocky Horror
God.
Picture Show too.
So, yeah.
He did Broadway shows.
Yes, he did. Yes, he's very
The man was
multi-talented.
an amazing vocalist. Amazing. Almost as good as Ronnie Vegas.
Mm,
Oh,
almost.
let's just go ahead and get right into our
Get right into that.
special guest. Right.
Hold on. Let me get some chapstick. All right.
You're gonna need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, he was a drummer in one of my very first bands. He's been in bands such as Almost Canadian, Turnstile, Starways Congress, and Tirade. He is a guitar shredder, not only a drummer. He's a sales manager. He's a parts manager. He makes guitars and makes amplifiers, and he's also straight up just a dick. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Baker.
I'd like to just point out that I can't help it. It's the biggest part of me.
Okay.
This is okay.
That's a great. That's a.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've never had to do this for any other guest so far. Probably won't have to do it again, but the views and opinions expressed by the guests on the Ronnie Vegas podcast are those entirely of the guests only. They do not. Anyway, you get the hint. Okay,
Yes.
how are we doing, bud?
We are doing fantastic, dude. You know what? You know how I'm doing. It's still pretty sunny out, starting to get a little bit dark later in the day, but it's like 85 degrees. So it's
ladies and gentlemen, again,
I'm gonna go play some golf in the morning before I work. Get in a quick
Let's
9.
just get the dickheadery right out of the way. Off the rip here. Rob Baker moved from sunny upstate New York, where I think it was 58 today, and it rained a little. And he now
Alney.
moved down to the asshole of the East Coast, known as Florida.
Florida.
It's actually the dick of the United States. You can literally. It protrudes from the bottom right of the United States
And
like
we're
a
back
penis.
to the phallus.
It's
Full circle, ladies and gentlemen. On the
a little
Ronnie Vegas
dangly.
podcast. It does. Oh,
It's literally
Lord.
peninsula. It's got PEN
Yeah.
in it.
So you moved down there to sunny FL.
Yep.
When did you move down there?
I've been here since June of last year, so I'm coming up on a year.
June. So, what are you doing down there? What are you doing down there?
Right now, what you see is what I do. Like, this is my office. I work from home. I sell software to car dealerships as of right now. Yeah.
Nice.
So, I mean, it's pretty decent. It's with a bunch of people that I've worked for in the past. It's in my wheelhouse. I mean, I've only, outside of the band stuff, I've only ever done car dealership or sales type stuff my entire life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I'm selling stuff to people who sell stuff. So,
Yeah, it
if
works.
you're full
out,
of
right?
if you're full of bullshit, that's what you want to do, and that's that's what I do.
That's how you're a good salesman. That's how people are good
Yeah.
salesmen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at a Mercedes dealership for 5 years. I know exactly how great
Oh,
bullshitters
absolutely,
sell
yeah.
things.
I sold cars in upstate New York for a dealership, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, for like 2 or 3 years, and I will never sell cars in my entire life again. It was like the worst job that I've ever had.
Yeah.
So tell us about your sales experience. No, you also owned a motorsport. Fuck Meatloaf. Motorsports.
Yep, motorcycles, ATVs,
Yeah.
sales, service, the whole 9 yards. That was a cool thing. except for I did it in New York. And anybody that's tried to own a business or open a business or do anything in the state of New York will understand that they will regulate you to death unless you're absolutely huge and you get to that point where you can take advantage of all their cool little tax breaks. We weren't that big, and they basically just regulated us to death. So I closed that in 2019, right before COVID was like the end of it, which was good because if
Good call.
yeah, if New York State hadn't like driven the spike into our backs, COVID probably would have finished the deal.
But if you would have stayed open,
You might have gotten some of that
you would
PPP
have got some of
loans.
that PPP money.
Those PPP money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
Or
we're back to
we
the
would have had the BK.
What's Burger
Bankrupt. Not Burger King. If I had it my way, we'd have made millions of dollars and I'd still be open.
I got you.
I was gonna say people defrauded the government with those PPP loans ridiculously, and they didn't do anything about it.
No, it's fucking insane. Wouldn't that have been something? No, you would have fucking held on just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well,
all of a sudden, fucking, yeah.
well,
New York.
Yeah, it like some of the fees and regulations and penalties for doing nothing wrong were just astronomical. And now you got Hochul in there, and part of our heat was wood fired, so they'd probably dropped a bomb on us and wiped us off the face of the state anyway. So it's fine. It's fine. You live, you learn. I'm in Florida now, dude. I got nothing.
Do you like Florida? Do you?
I like Florida. Yeah.
Florida was my least favorite living experience in my entire life. I hated living in
Dude.
Florida.
Dude, I've heard a bunch of people say that, and I don't understand it because obviously I've only been here for a year, but so far it is like light years better than anywhere I've lived, which includes New York, and that's about it.
I'm very warm-blooded, so I like the cold. I like the cold a lot more than I like the heat. Probably because I spent the first 12 years of my life in Florida, so and I also lived in Miami for a good portion of that, which is just a hellscape. It is always 90 degrees with 90% humidity, and it's thunderstorming twice a day. I hate it. It was so awful. It was awful. Here's great, like Pennsylvania, like right near Philadelphia, it's great. I get all 4 seasons, and it doesn't get past, like the hottest day of the year will be 90.
It gets hotter than that out here.
But it's 85 for you now in March or April.
Yeah.
Which is
and see,
how are we adjusting to the heat?
Me, dude, that there's absolutely no way that I would go back to a cold climate unless I absolutely 100% had to. No way. None.
Like, so it was another warrant out for your arrest.
Last year, when I first got here, like July, August, whatever, I would go play around a golf when the heat index was like 115, and it was fine. I was just, ball was going a long way. I enjoyed it. I had absolutely no problems whatsoever with the heat. And like my busted up hip, that's been bad since I was 14, hasn't bothered me at all this year. So, my back hasn't been as bad. It's the cold breaks me, and every winter.
Just one of those stories of an old man moving to retirement Florida.
Yeah, like
he's in perfect place for it. North of Tampa, he's in the perfect place for a retired man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he's not retired. He's fucking young.
Nah, yeah. I'm never gonna be able to retire. That's never in a million years.
Probably not. So let's bring up the bad hip. Our sponsor, Exotica. Rob has not smoked marijuana since he was 14.
Is it related to your hip injury?
It is very related to his hip.
I may have been hit by a truck. A large truck, not like a little truck. I may have either the truck hit me or the ground hit me 60 feet away from where the truck was. So yeah,
Which
that
one of the two punctured the lung is what I want to
my
know.
elbow actually broke my rib, which punctured my lung and subsequently dislocated my shoulder.
That was definitely from the truck impact.
No.
I think he hit the pavement pretty fucking hard.
I
Yeah.
imagine if you
let's
get
break
hit
that
by
down.
a proclaimed
So I was on a
truck pretty
bicycle.
big.
I was on a bicycle and I was coming down this great big hill by where one of my buddies used to live. And you get up to the top of this hill, you get all the way to the bottom, and you got all this speed just for there to be a stop sign right just past the bottom of the hill. And it was always like you get to the bottom, you're like, oh, this sucks. Now I have to start all over again. So at the top, you can see each direction for like 2 miles. And so I saw one way, nothing was coming. I looked the other way. There's a truck way down there. I knew the guy because I mean, in Herman, you know everybody because there's like 9 people.
Right.
So I knew who it was. He had his turn signal on, or so it looked like from the distance and vantage that I was at. Right.
For the record, Rob was high on the pot.
anyway, so I'm at the top of the hill and I see this truck and it's got its turn signal on, so it's going to be turning right at this intersection that I was going to be turning left. So we would in theory kind of like pass our paths and never the tween shall meet, right? So that's not what happened. I got to the intersection and he went straight and I went flying about 60 feet in the air until I came to an abrupt stop on the ground.
Funny now.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious.
Of course, yeah.
We heard about it in school, and like fucking people were having moments of silence for you, and fucking it was pretty wild.
I like the group of friends that I had back then came in and were telling me that everybody said I was dead. Like everybody, like there was rumors going around that I died, and like I'm like, well, I don't think I'm
got
dead.
hit by a truck and thrown half a football field.
It wasn't half of, man, it was 60 feet. So how many yards is that? It's only 30. No, I can't do that math. Whatever it was, it wasn't that far. 20 yards. 20 yards. It's fine.
Americans.
Well,
So
the fucking standard system is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm like doing the math like by 2, by 3. What did I do? Anyway,
it's 3 yards and 2 inches, or 3 yards, or it's 3 feet and 2 inches is a yard.
Field
or some
goal.
Shit.
No,
anyway.
3 feet 2, but then so it's 20. You went 20 yards.
Yeah, about
That's
20
what he
yards.
said.
Yeah.
Good first down run. Okay, go
Good
ahead.
first down run. Yep. But yeah, I dislocated my shoulder, broke 2 ribs, punctured my lung, lacerated my spleen and my kidney, broke my hip in 4 spots, cracked my kneecap, broke my toe on my left foot, and gave myself 2 concussions.
I think the truck gave you 1 concussion, and then the ground gave you the second.
It's entirely. I'm taking credit for most of this, dude. Like, don't take that away from me.
Yeah, you did that to yourself.
I did it all to myself.
He gets the first concussion, wakes up halfway in the air, and goes,
Yep.
fucking right back down. Two.
So the only thing that I remember until like waking up the next day was like coming to on the ground, and I would have sworn there was like this like 500-pound whale of a woman holding me from squirming all over the place because they thought, you know, like neck injury or stuff like that. They didn't want me to move. I met her like 6 months after the fact. Like they're like, oh yeah, this is the lady that was there helping you at the scene. She maybe weighed 95 pounds.
But she could, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's how messed up I couldn't move. Everything was just jello. But yeah, like liquefied pretty much everything along the left side of my body. And it explains the brain damage.
That's why he's such a dick, Ronnie. That's why.
Liquefied. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It did.
So anyway, that's why Rob stays off the pot.
And that's why I stay out of the cold.
Yeah, that did it. That did it.
Yeah, that definitely didn't help.
You were riding the bike in the middle of winter, of course.
No, it was in October. It was October 13th. It was a Monday, and it
was cold.
It was chillier, but it wasn't super cold. I remember like I had a hoodie, and I did have jeans on because it was my Jenko Jets. Like back in the day when we all wore Jenkos.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
yeah, we did. You did too. Don't even start with me, dude.
I know
like,
I did. I know I did.
Janko Jets, 21 inches around at the ankle.
Try
That's-
pedaling a bike on that shit.
Oh, dude, like all of my jeans were like thrashed up the chain side until about halfway up my calf because it would get caught in the chain and just shred them. So I didn't have a single pair of jeans that didn't get like just completely torn.
Let me just say,
Oh my god, those
out
jeans
of all
are
of
so
us
ugly.
that wore those type of jeans, someone needed to be hit by a truck. I'm sorry, it
Facts.
was
I
But-
would hit you with my car if I saw someone
you.
walking
But
around
Rob,
with
you
these
took
jeans.
a truck for an entire generation.
I did. I just changed the trajectory of an entire generation of human.
Why are these jeans so expensive?
They were.
They were like I remember being like back then they were like $60.
$50. Like
sitting here,
$50 in 1998.
Yeah, like
The
I think
cheapest
the
ones
cheapest.
are $130 right now.
Yeah, inflation,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
The U.S. economy for you.
Designer jeans, man.
Yep.
That's pretty much what they were. But we were all like, "Oh, Jinkos, let's go roll."
Well, I
some
remember,
grass."
dude. I remember that like when I got those jeans, my parents would let me get one pair for the school year twice a year. That's it. Like when we went school shopping in like August or whatever, my mom would be like, "All right, if you want those expensive ass jeans, you get one pair."
Yeah, I
and then
think
you're
that's
gonna
what my-
you're gonna
Christmas,
buy
you'll
like
get another one.
you're gonna buy these Lee dungarees for like the last couple of pairs that you gotta have. So because
dungarees.
yes, whatever they were. So what we would do is I would take and cut the ankle of the jeans up along the seam about halfway up my calf on purpose, not because of my bike, so that they would flare more at the bottom and look more like the Jenkos because I was that guy.
You couldn't pay me $130 to wear those fucking jeans.
Hey,
It's
man.
it was the thing, man. Everybody was doing it.
Well, I mean, not everybody.
Not everybody. Like
We were
a couple
unique.
a couple people were doing it.
I'm not going to be individual by myself. What do you mean? Come on now.
A couple
So-
of the designs are pretty cool, but they fucking...
No,
Look
yeah, I used to like the
atrocious.
skunks, the Janko skunks.
I had a pair of skunks. My Jets that were my favorite pair of jeans ever, had a stripe down the side that would glow in the dark.
I remember those pants. You
Yeah,
had those
they-
forever.
Dude, they were the best pair of pants that I ever had. And then they had the mammoths. You remember those corduroy freaking awful sons of bitches?
Oh,
Like you would
boy.
damn near start a fire walking down the hallways
You
with
could
those
hear-
things
you
because
could
like
hear people
the
coming
cords were
along.
like Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it
Oh, yeah.
sounded like an old jug band with like the washboard player.
Yeah. Oh man.
I am
All
a
right.
big shoe guy, and these just cover your shoes.
Oh, dude, I have like my feet right now as an adult are like a 9, and when I had those little fellas, it saves me money. I get shoes for cheap.
Yeah, I imagine.
anyway- like I only have to buy half.
I have to
I
custom
only
order
have to
my
buy
shoes.
half a pair. But yeah, like it was nothing. Like my feet would disappear. They were gone in those because they
Yeah.
would drag on the ground, and they just looked like I was walking around on a pair of stumps.
Yeah.
You know, like that dude with the peg legs from Family Guy, just like walking around with no feet.
Harry Potter. No, oh wait, that's the wrong guy. Sorry. Sorry, wrong guy.
That's
Yeah.
that's Seamus. It's Seamus.
Yes.
Yes.
He has peg arms too.
Yep.
Yeah, he's entirely made of wood except for his head. But no, I remember when I had jeans that like before I started getting into shoes, and they would like I would wear them really low on my feet, and the backs of them, like the back bottoms would get destroyed
Yep.
by my shoes stepping on them.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I would get hand-me-downs from my brother because I'm 4 years younger than my brother. So whenever my brother would outgrow something, they would just be like, "Here, Alex, you take it." And he would be like 2 inches taller than me, so the jeans would drag on the bottom of my shoes, and just the back of them would get destroyed.
The wild thing is we used to skateboard and rollerblade and ride bikes and shit with those pants. like,
Fucking
Yes.
20-inch openings at the bottom.
yeah,
You-
dude.
dude,
Most
do you
jeans
remember-
were- And of course, you'd always buy them big. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yep.
it was. Yeah,
You remember
it was a
like
whole-
Jimmy Bristol would do like a kickflip or something like that. His legs would go up and it just looked like a parachute deployed when he was in the air. So
and he had to kick his legs so much higher
Yes,
just to make
it,
sure
it
that
just
the
made
pants wouldn't get-
made
yeah.
everything so much more difficult. And like walking around with those in the slush in the winter, like they would be
Oh my
back or the
God.
wet in the back up to your like the back of your
Oh
knees.
yeah,
Just
so bad.
so
Just be dragging ice down the hallway.
pretty much like you'd have a trail that looked like you wet yourself all the way down the hallway.
Yeah,
I think just because of the air resistance in these, if you were wearing skinny jeans, you would have died from that truck. Like, because you were definitely going about 5 miles an hour slower than you should
like
have been.
it's
because of the
they
air,
like
the air
kind of
resistance.
slowed it down like a parachute.
like parachute pants.
All he had to do was stick his legs up towards the front of the bike, and all of the
I'd
air
have
would
floated
catch
down
it.
like Mary Poppins with
Exactly.
her umbrella.
Yep.
You would have been fine.
Yeah. Too bad I got hit by a truck and I wasn't thinking about that midair.
Too bad.
I mean,
You were probably unconscious when you were flying through the air.
There's a very valid possibility that was a thing. So yeah. Anyway.
He's like, let's stop talking about that traumatic experience.
I've looked like an idiot for the last 42 minutes. Let's get on to a different topic.
let's go to something 42. It wasn't that long.
That's
Well, I'm
when
gonna
we
really
started.
make you look like an
It's
idiot.
6:42. We've been talking and like I see what you're saying.
You're
Like
say what time it is. You ruin the immersion.
It's whatever time you're watching this video at.
So no, I want to get to something fun, but it's still gonna make you look like an idiot. You owe me 15 minutes of asking.
listen, bruh.
I'm excited
So-
to hear this.
So okay, so
Oh, no,
I was
no, no.
I was thinking that you'd actually have a little bit more of a tactful lead in instead of like here's how
Can we get the
much cheeks, go for it.
context? Can we get
I
the
mean-
context of it, or is
All
that
right,
off
Yeah.
limits?
So
No,
so, no,
sir,
it's not
no, we can know. Go ahead.
Nope. Okay.
No,
So
nothing's
here-
off limits.
So here's
According to
what we're gonna
Mr.
do.
Matrix.
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happens to lead up to the falling out of Rob and Ronnie and Tirade as a whole. Okay. So
Please.
when we were just like everything was actually going really, really well. We played some really big shows.
Timer's not
like
on yet, by the way.
turn the timer on because this is gonna be some ass kissing. Okay. No, wow. Let's
When I
look at you.
The
hear
context doesn't
Hey.
include in the time, apparently.
Context.
Yo, do you remember
Prologue
that?
Does not count. Okay?
Do you remember that nickname that Tick was referring to?
Do you listen? I
Okay, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not. So okay,
I
here's
called him Rondolph Tiddler last episode.
never been to Florida, but I'm willing to go.
you should. It's nice. It's lovely this time of year. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. All you need is a light sweater. Anyway,
At
A
85?
light sweater in 85? Man,
Dude,
you've
I
already
want-
adjusted to that climate, haven't you?
it was like 75 degrees this morning when I went to Walmart to get some tires put on my wife's car, and I had a hoodie on.
That's beach weather to Ronnie.
It's that's stay in the air conditioning weather
That's
for
naked.
Ronnie.
That's no. Nope. I don't do well with the heat. I hate the heat. That's why I golf at 6 o'clock in the morning because I want
Yeah.
to go before the sun comes up. Yeah. I fucking hate.
Yeah.
Nope. You're
See,
in
I
a
would
good
much-
state for me not to chase you down. Anyway, let's get the prologue out of the way so I can
Anyway,
get started.
let's do this. So, when my first daughter was born, there was some time that I wanted to take off. There was some misunderstandings between Ronnie and I with how everything was going to play out. I thought I'm gonna word this very delicately, okay?
I'm gonna
I-
let you just. Go.
I
I'm
thought-
I'm not.
No,
gonna-
not. I just want to make sure that I'm not throwing people under the bus that don't need to be thrown under the bus. Anyway, I thought that it was what I wanted, okay? To take some time off, and there was a lot of animosity that was placed in my brain like a virus, right? So it came to an end. It wasn't 100% like it's what I wanted, but it wasn't what I wanted type of thing. Like it was what I was. The breakup, the split, was simply because I was thought that I should be pissed off for whatever reason. Okay, I shouldn't have been. Should have just like talked it out, chatted it. Probably would have been in the band for the entirety of the thing. Anyway, After that thing all kind of like fleshed out and whatever, I was pissy. And I don't know anybody that doesn't know Ronnie. When you get pissy with Ronnie, he has a tendency to get pissy back.
Oh yeah.
That's just like, and Ronnie and I, for the entire career that I was in Tirade, it was like either you're like this or button heads. There was no in between. We was either great or we completely 100% disagreed on whatever decision we were making, right? So I got pissy with Ronnie. Ronnie got pissy back with me, and for what? Like shit, years, man. Like it was a long time, 3 or 4, 5, whatever years it was, if not more than that. Like I did not.
I think it was 5.
Yeah, like for that amount of time, I did not talk to any of the guys in the band, which 2 of them were in my first wedding. Like these guys were literally my brothers. But I again, I'm not going to get into a whole lot as to the who, the what, the why, but I left on terms that weren't necessarily mine. But it just disintegrated a lot. So that's where a lot of so this ass kissery that I've got to do is
Wrapping up
to
the prologue here.
to make amends for that bullshit that I was involved in for that 5-year period. So let me just start by saying I can tell by the glasses and the way you present yourself that you're a very powerful man. You're obviously a very intelligent individual. Start the goddamn timer.
Already.
I started.
So anyway, that I
saying
kind
about
of
my intelligence.
I already said it once. I'm not going to say it again. You didn't say I had to repeat myself.
Well, you
but
got
anyway,
15 minutes. You might have to
Listen.
repeat yourself a couple times.
Bruh, I'm a salesman. I can drag anything I want
True.
out. Trust me, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I'm here for it.
So after that, like I had tried to put together a couple of small like band projects because I am, through and through 100%. I do consider myself a musician. It was never about like being not just anyway. I mean, not just being on the stage and having everybody being like, I want to be with that guy. It was about playing music. So I learned very quickly that you don't replace Ronnie Vegas. You just don't. I have had a handful of people down here, because they've got this website called Band Mix, right? You can put your profile on there. It's basically like Tinder for musicians. So you go on this, you put your profile on there, and you can message people and be like, "Hey, your music looks interesting," or whatever. I'm looking for this kind of thing. I have been approached by multiple people down here. They are all ass, all of them, especially into comparison to what I'm used to. Especially compared to what I'm used to. Like,
And what are you used to?
I am used to a vocal genius. When it comes to like if you ask my God's honest opinion, dude, there was nobody that was as like on the microphone and on the drum set at that point as stacked as Tirade was. Between you and I, there was like, and especially Tit too, like between the 3 of us, there was a metric shit ton of talent in that band, like more so than any of the other bands in St. Lawrence County, Jefferson County, upstate New York, whatever. And I'm not gonna like name any of them, but all of them. Like you got a better voice
Not
than
about
all
them,
of them.
it's about me, please.
Your vocals were better than all of them. Like the stuff that we were writing was fantastic, and everything that you put to it was just absolutely perfect. The only thing I'm gonna criticize you on this because, and I've done it, and I've done it before, was changing lyrics to songs because people didn't know what they were.
First, okay.
No, I want to. So that like that line.
Dive into it because you're
No.
wasting my time.
No, because this is also going to be ass kissery. So just chill. That line that you started with was amazing. I'm not the only person that said that knew what that line actually was. that was a great line. It just like it fit the song. It was beautiful.
Don't tell anyone what it actually was because it's actually in the lyric book now.
I know it's in the
copyrighted.
lyric book, and it makes me so sad because it's so much better. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say what it was.
Oh, whatever.
Because the line in the song was, "Now I'm running blind and fooled, and I don't know where to go." And nobody that heard that song in our fan base knew that that's what the lyric was. So it got changed to, "Now I'm running back and forth, and I don't know where to go." And that lyric makes me want to choke on
I
my
like
own
that
vomit.
lyric.
I think that in comparison,
we actually
in
have
comparison,
several fans have that tattooed on their bodies.
I understand that. It doesn't make it right.
Okay. So
in comparison to "Now I'm running blind and fooled," now I'm running back and forth is like you've got like a masterpiece, okay? And I'm running back and forth is like a monkey took his own shit and wiped it on a canvas. That's like that's the comparison between the two. It's not a bad lyric if it never followed the first one. If you'd have been like, "I'm running back and forth," then that would be
Whoa.
that would be just perfectly fine. It would be acceptable. It wouldn't be bad. But
so
in
I'm a lyrical
comparison,
genius.
yes, you're the lyrics that you wrote to a lot of the songs, and a lot of them were the songs that I wrote. So it like bottom of the barrel and swim with your pants on and
Oh, you mean songs that you like wrote the guitar to?
the guitar part, yeah, and then you put lyrics to them, and like those songs, and just the simple fact that we came up with Scud Missile in the course of like 6 minutes, and it's a 2-minute song. You know,
it's a 4.5 minute song.
Scud Missile, or no, it's not Scud Missile, not Scud Missile. Take this was the one where
Take this. We wrote
yeah.
that in the studio because we said, my wife.
I thought Brian was the one that told us that we needed to have one more because all albums have at least 10 songs.
And my wife still tells me this. She's like, if when you put time into a song, it's so good. Like when you take your time, and I go, when don't I? And she's like, Ronnie, you write a song in the studio on the way to the studio, and I'm like, well, yeah, because we need fillers.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite songs, dude. That is such. Not only is it,
we wrote "Take This." You came up with that guitar riff in like 30 seconds, and then you showed it to Tick, and
no, I don't think Tick recorded that. I recorded that whole song because that solo is my solo.
The solo's yours, but Tick did the guitar part.
I don't think Tick did the guitar part on that. I think it was
100. I am 160% on that.
Bro, I can't.
You did the.
I can't remember what I did last week, so I'm not going to argue the point. But
you did the solo on that, and you also did a solo in another song. And then the next time we recorded the other song, which I think was "Why," and it's not anywhere online or anything. It's like a B-side song, but Tick ended up.
Want me to play it right now? I remember it.
So back to me.
Back to you. So yeah, finding out that replacing and building a band, not only that had the kind of talent that you and Tick and I had all at the same time in one place.
How about you guys?
You're part of that. It's all the same thing. But like to get the kind of coordination that we all had. I mean, yeah, we gave you a lot of shit, but you led it in the right direction, obviously, I'm running out of bullshit here.
You can lead a horse to water. I can't make him shit.
I don't know what. Is he constipated? Is that why he's?
Is that why he needs the water? Is he
he's dehydrated?
Is it like blocked
up?
If
the horse is you guys, then yeah, you're constipated.
So yeah, trying to find the chemistry. Trying to find
You're doing good.
Tip it. Anyway, so like the chemistry that the three of us had, like, and I don't know how many times I'd tell the story, like all the time, of being on stage, having somebody shout out some random obscure song, and Tick knew like half of it, and you kind of knew the words, and I never heard the song in my entire life, but we still like horse ass around with it
until a combination of the three.
or something like that. And
yeah,
we'd play it for like the first verse and the first chorus, and then another part of the
We'd
verse,
stop.
and then we'd stop. All three of us, without looking at each other, without like a cue to stop. We'd just be like, "Nah, we're good," and then it would be over. And that
Be
that
over, and
kind of
people would be like, "Oh," and then we'd go right into something we actually knew how to play.
yeah. And
But
then
with that,
we'd always
I
stop.
will give you that when we started out and we were the cover band that played 4 hours straight, no
Dude,
breaks.
so
We'll get
bad on
into
my
it.
back, man.
I have that on my list of things to talk about. But when we did that, the chemistry between me, you, Tick, and sometimes
Even
Chris.
I was gonna say even Chris
Sometimes
to a degree.
We could figure out almost any song people would throw at us, at least a verse and a chorus.
Yeah.
At least. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't think there was ever.
And that was back before you could just pop up your cell phone and look it all up. We
and
didn't
plus
have
the
that
places
back
we
then.
were playing didn't have the fucking internet anyway. So
Yeah, and they were such a dive shit bar that even if they did, like, if there was some kind of like Wi-Fi or like a 3G service, it wasn't going to hit that place.
Fine establishments.
Yes, all of them were fine establishments, but yeah, I mean, it just like trying to find that again is impossible. Like, you and Tick didn't have to completely try to start from scratch. You know what I mean? You still had you and Tick. You still had that chemistry there. And then Tim was there for a little bit, kind of like right on my departure. So I've always been extremely jealous of the fact that you guys still had that and I didn't. And so as far as all of the debauchery that occurred on my end from when we were doing that whole, like, when you and I broke up, I do apologize. That was bullshit. It was not okay. I sincerely wish that I would have been like, much more mature about it, because I wasn't as a dick, apparently, as they say.
Okay. I would like to say I saw it. I did see it coming. I called it.
Well, we both know why.
We'll get past that. You got 5 more minutes. Listen, you got 5 more
Listen,
minutes.
we're gonna work this into the remainder of the conversation because we're not done yet. So we don't want to shoot our wad all in one spot.
I mean, listen. We heard what you thought about my lyrical abilities. We heard what you thought about my on-stage presence and my vocal abilities. Why don't you talk about my managerial and like ideas and shit?
Well, I mean,
please.
They were everything. We all had specific roles in the band, right? You were kind of like the direction of the band. I was the person. Well, not kind of. You were the one that you would ask Tick and I every now and then we'd tell you something, and you'd be like, "Yeah, shut the fuck up," and then you do what you wanted to do anyway. I mean,
basically being like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do. You guys okay with it?" And if you were like, "No," I'm like, "Well,
yeah, yeah." I mean, like, you were Richard Potato. It's fine.
I'm deducting a minute.
No, you're not. It's fine. So yeah, I mean, you were always the direction of the band, which is, I mean, it was better to kind of be, rather than all of us try to do everything and step on each other's toes. It was better to do it the way that you did it, because, like I said, you were the direction of the band. You were the one that kind of took us. And I mean, I still remember being in that janky ass fucking van, driving around St. Lawrence County and Franklin County and whatever. And scheduling shows in that. Oh my God, yes. So you were the direction. You were kind of the leader of the band, and you did a very, very good job at it. I couldn't have done it. Tick couldn't have done it. Timmy couldn't have done it. Chris couldn't have done it. That you had to do it, and you were the one that did it. And in that, you did a very, very good job to do it. Like when Tick says you ran a tight ship, you did, but it was, you were kind of doing it for our own good. Like I said, if I had my way, I'd have played the Thunderdome every other weekend. You can't do that.
Yeah, did I want to do that? Of course, the Thunderdome was great.
The Thunderdome was tits,
it's
man.
All about I always listen to every other band, and next week we have a special guest, Larry Holly, coming on, and I can't wait to talk to him because he really helped us out in the beginning.
Yes.
But I listened to every single band, musician, everybody that we played with, that we ever came across, I would listen to them no matter what I thought about them, and I would take things. And yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I tried to apply things that everyone told me, basically.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you were the leader. I was the bankroll, and Tick. Tick was Tick.
I mean, Tick helped write a lot of songs.
Yes, he did. Like Tick was
Tick. The best thing about Tick is you show him 3 chords and say, "This is my idea," and he'll build on that.
exactly.
Like,
I think I'm pretty sure, like, to Bottom of the Barrel, he wrote the chorus to Bottom of the Barrel.
Yep.
He wrote the chorus to Swim with Your Pants On.
Yep.
Like, there a handful of the ones that that I started, he finished. And he was super good at taking an idea and polishing it. And that's,
and on,
like I said,
on like the other 2 albums we did after you, he was instrumental on taking songs or ideas and just twerking them and just making them twerking.
did you say twerking? You said twerking.
Tweaking them and just making them so much better. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Just you give him 3 chords and be like, "This is my idea," and he'd be like, "Okay,
And
well, how about?"
And then
this?"
he'd start twerking.
Yeah, he
Yes,
started twerking
with
twerking.
his guitar attached to him. But he was also, like, phenomenal. And, like, if you said, "Hey, we want to play this song next week," he would learn it before we were done with that practice by ear. It was stupid. I remember, like, when we started.
Walk outside to go talk, and he would listen to it.
Yeah,
and have it
when we
figured out.
wanted to play Riot, he had it down before that practice was even over.
Yeah.
And I had never heard that song until, like at all. He played drums to it, whatever. I never heard that song until about 2 years ago.
Oh,
So yeah,
fantastic.
you don't know how. There's a lot of songs that we played that I never actually heard. I guessed 100% guessed. And my guess one night might be different from a guess the next night. The only thing, it was close enough for go. I mean, like, okay, great.
Very good. Very good.
I was gonna say that reminds me of, like, I don't know if you see these videos on TikTok or YouTube, but it's like where they'll play, like, a famous drummer will come on and they'll have the set, and then they'll play all of the music without the drum in it, and they have to make up their own shit.
Yeah, there was one with Chad Smith playing, like, 30 Seconds to Mars or whatever the song, whatever the band was.
That he came in and he was so fucking close.
Oh, he was, like, almost dead on.
Like,
he's done it a couple times since then too with other songs. He did such a good job.
Chad Smith's not like a human person. He's just not. It's ridiculous.
I will give you some ass history. That is something that you could do that all the other drummers we had, their strengths in other surfaces or whatever, areas, but your biggest strength was being able to just fucking go like that.
Improvise.
Like the 30 seconds. Like, someone could put that on your headphones and you can sit there and figure that out and fucking just jump in. Like,
I attribute a lot of that to my drums being in tune.
Well, I mean, yes. But also the fact that, like, how we learned music growing up was by ear.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, that's how we learned how to play guitar. That's how I learned how to play bass. That's how Tick learned how to play guitar. We played it by ear. I
still remember sitting, like, when I was in high school, not even in high school, I was probably, like, 7th or 8th grade with my first drum set or whatever it was, in my bedroom with my headphones on, trying to play Jelly Belly. And that intro that they had, like, I kind of had a little bit of a stroke there for a minute. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then, just trying to figure that out. Or the intro to Sober, like, those ridiculous things. I did it all. You had to do it all by ear. You couldn't go download the sheet music, and I wasn't going to spend like $15 to get the actual music that I couldn't read. So
the actual book
the book. You go into drive for half an hour to get to the closest music store, spend $20 on something that wouldn't even be in tablature, so I couldn't read it.
Yeah, pretty much. Much. Speaking of driving to music stores.
Oh my God. I think I know where you're going with that.
You wanted to talk about the Border Patrol incident
Holy
back in
Christ.
the early. This was
This was before Tick was even in the band. This was back with the, like, after we kind of mutinied from Starways Congress, and took everybody, sort of.
by we.
Again, you did, and we all followed you because you are El Capitan.
Mutiny, is it?
Yes, like you are Jack Sparrow of our collective band fate.
Yeah, more like Barbosa.
Nah, he's too serious. Anyway,
Well, that's a lot.
so yeah, this is back in the days, like, before I was making decent money, before you were making decent money, before, like, when we, like, all that we had was the gear that we had. So when we got to the point where we needed to upscale stuff, we would take everything that we could possibly, like old pedals, the stuff that we needed to trade in and replace, everything, like right down to like patch cables and crap, like everything. We had the back of my car full, the hatchback of it, 1993 Ford Probe, manual
Yes, sir.
transmission, JDM swap, stunk like a hog. Anyway, we had that, like, the back of it. We even had to take the shelf out because, like, stuff was touching the glass as we're driving the hour to get to Watertown. And
Alex, do you know what a Ford Probe is?
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
a glorious car. It's a beautiful
wanted to
car.
know.
I had two.
Really
I had two. There's a second story about the Ford Probe too that I'll tell you as soon as we get done with this one. Ronnie's proud of that one. But anyway, we had this one stuffed, like top to bottom. It was me, Ronnie, and our original guitar player, the very first guitar player of Tirade when we sucked. And
Say who it Ben.
Ben.
It was Ben.
It's Ben.
Baker.
Back before we got our groove, back
No
before
relation to
anything.
you, but it was Ben.
Nope. Yeah.
Yep.
And so yeah, we're in the car and we're halfway between Governor and Watertown, and there's a Border Patrol stop right there because that's before COVID. That's where they would do it, and they did it all the time. And
Still do.
we pull over, still do, yeah. So we pull up and we roll down the window, and the guy said, "So where are you heading?" I said, "Heading to Watertown, trading some stuff in." He said, "All right, pull the car over right over here." Okay, so I pulled the car over, and mind you, my 93 Ford Probe had an engine swap at that point. It had a whole bunch of emission regulation stuff that it was supposed to have that it didn't have. So it had a really weird smell unless you were running the air conditioning or had the windows down. So I pulled up, and this Border Patrol agent stuck his head in the window and told me to pull over.
First thing he
so,
said was, "Do you like golf clubs?"
yes, that's not even it. So anyway, I pull over. The guy walks over to the car and he says, "You know why I stopped you?" And I said, "No clue, none." He's like, "You guys have been smoking some marijuana." And well, back then, dude, like at this point, like I was like,
also,
nope.
I don't think I did either.
No. So I'm like, no, I think I audibly chuckled when he first said that, and then I'm like, oh shit, he's serious. So he's like, well, the vehicle smells like marijuana. I'm like, no, the vehicle smells like a bad EGR valve and a weird combination of whorebait because, we were all in our 20s and sprayed ourselves down like it was a job, like 3 different Axe sprays and whatever. He's like, well, I think I know the difference. Yeah. And so he's like, I think I know the difference between an exhaust smell and cologne. And I was like, I don't think you do because that's what you're smelling. And he's like,
you actually did say, I
said
don't think you do.
Yeah. So this was back when I used to get lippy with cops to think that I could bully them. You can't. You just can't. Just don't do it.
It worked this time.
They do not take it lightly.
Worked. Like, looking back on it, I'm thinking, man, it's a good thing that I didn't get like dragged out of the car and tased or some shit. But
very true.
So he's going around the vehicle and he's like, when was the last time any of you boys had anything to smoke? And I'm like, dude, I'm like 24, 25 at this, or 23, 24 at this point. I'm like, it's been since I was 14. And he looked at me with this confused look. I'm like, yeah, I got hit by a truck. Haven't done it since. And Ronnie's like, it's been a couple of weeks, I think. And the guy looked at him sideways and he's like, I work construction. And then it gets to Ben. And he's like, when's the last Oh yeah. When when was the last time you smoked marijuana? And Ben said, yesterday. I'm like, like, dude, in that situation, just lie.
Just lie. Yeah, just lie.
I literally slammed my head off the glove box
Yeah.
when he said that.
Yeah, it's a good thing there was no airbag over there because you might have set it off.
So he got out of the car.
So yeah, the border patrol, he never pulled Ben out of the car. Ben's the one that admitted to smoking yesterday, but he pulled me out of the car instead. So I'm in the back of the car and he's being decent. He's not being a super dick about it or anything like that, but he's like implying that, I'm trying to pull the wool over his eyes or something like that. And he's like, what's all this in the back of the car here? And I'm like, this, we're musicians, we're in a band. We're taking this stuff to a store. We have to trade this in. We need some different gear. We need to kind of upscale our gear. And he said, do you mind if I take a look at all that? And then out of nowhere, from the ether of the front seat of my car, the cop says, no more gets done saying, can I take a look at all that equipment? Then I hear, no! And I'm like, oh, fuck. And he's like, excuse me? I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. Like, this is all stuff that's money to us. And if you take it apart, it's not going to be money anymore. So respectfully, I'm going to have to decline any kind of searches of this. But he said that, and like my life kind of flashed before my eyes for about a half a second, and it was like, nope, don't kill me. So yeah, I mean, we got out of that without having to any kind of issues. It's good.
We ended up declined to search and he let you go.
Yeah, we denied to search.
I literally yelled, nope! And I started to get out of the car, and the other agent kind of kept me in the car because I told Rob when he was pulling us over, I said, whatever happens, do not let them fucking touch our amps.
Yeah, because what they were going to do is they were going to shred the...
I've seen shit, and I heard stories from bands saying that they'll punch holes in their speakers and tear shit out and like look for drugs just to be dicks and then send you on your way. And we were trying to get money to trade it in, so I literally said, I will come unglued if they want to fucking...
Cops don't have to pay for that either.
So, yeah, he hollers nope from the front, and I'm like... So I backpedal a lot. And I'm like... So I explain that. I'm like, look, this is worth money to us. If you guys get your hands on it, it's not going to be worth anything. If you need to search it, you're going to have to get a warrant or something to search all this stuff. And he's like, there's nothing in there. I said, no, sir. Like, we're literally going to trade it in right now. You can follow us to the guitar store if you want. The only way that we aren't going to trade it is if we get just absolutely undercut on what we think it's worth. So he did let us go. He was pretty chill.
Before he let us go, they asked Ben again. They said, do you have any on you? He goes, no. And they're like, do you have a bowl on you? Do you have a piece? And he goes, no. And they're like, come on, you don't have one on you? What's one cost? $10, $15? And Ben goes, not a good one.
Yeah. Like let's dig that hole a little deeper.
And then after we left, we pulled away. Ben was like, good thing they didn't search my wallet. I had rolling papers in here.
We never took Ben on a
Ben never went on
another excursion trip after that. Yeah, it was best that he did not.
Very good that we just left him fucking.
We just yeah. So the second story.
Me and you, like you brought up, we always had like a good connection on stage.
Always did.
We played together as teenagers too.
Yeah,
we always went down, like Tick said, we went down to Mr. Danis's, and you were in that group of people who used to go down. We all used to jam together. So,
back when you had that blue BC Rich bitch.
Yeah, that was a good guitar.
That was fun guitar. It was awkward, and it was heavier than a Deadman, but it was a good guitar. It sounded great.
So I played guitar in Turnstile, and you played drums.
Yep.
Played drums. In Almost Canadian, I played guitar and I sang, and you played drums.
Yep.
In Starways Congress, I played bass
and sang, sort of, and I played drums.
And you played drums, and we started Tirade, so I could sing.
Yes. Yep. Pretty much.
And when we started Tirade, I was playing bass and singing at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the sound tech from the recording studio came on for a short stint. Chris. And then
Chris hired
when
him. Yeah, he was actually our like traveling sound guy. We
Yeah.
hired him to kind of run sound and run the small little light show we had, and then he ended up coming up. Like I said, we used to play for 4 hours straight.
yeah,
So, Alex, I don't know.
Yep.
Have you ever gone out to a bar before when there's like a band playing or anything?
I've gone to bars where there's live music. Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you watched that live music?
I mean, they're the longest I had ever. It's only been a few times. Because literally I turned 21 in 2020 when the pandemic was happening, so I couldn't go out to bars for like 2 years basically. And then when I was like 23, I guess I like went out a little bit, but like I've never been like a go just because I didn't have that thing when I was 21. I did go into bars when I was underage with a fake ID, but
Well, I mean,
none of them were ever like live music. So there it's always like much more of a like a mellow vibe, and it was like I was there for like 2 hours or something, and I wouldn't stay there the whole time. I would never.
Yeah. Well, the thing about our band is, and the reason, I did run a tight ship, but this was Rob. You hated this idea, but I said the reason a lot of bands lose, the big crowd they have. You start when you start playing, you open, you have your hour open set, whatever. Then normally bands take a half-hour break, then they play an hour, then they take a half-hour break, then they play an hour. So it's a 4-hour gig to where they take an hour worth of breaks, right? And I said the reason they lose these crowds, because I mean, sometimes in the North Country there'd be two bars across from each other, and we'd be playing one, another one would be playing another one, and when they took breaks, people would come over to our bar, and when we took a break, people would go back over to their bar. And it's still true today. When I go out and I see a band and they take a break, literally that crowd
loses it.
Nothing kills a crowd if you're building one more than taking a fucking break. So our idea was we're gonna play 3 hours. We booked all of our shows from 10 to 1 because bars in New York close at 2 a.m. So we would call and we would say, we 10 to 1. Well, why not 10 to 2? And I'd say, well, most of your bands take breaks, right? They're like, yep. I'm like, we don't. We start at 10, we play till 1. And this always turned into
we'd start to shut it down at 1:00, and then everybody would coax us back into, unless Tick's amp broke, but everybody would coax us back into playing a encore, which wasn't really an encore because we never really stopped. Like Tick would flip off his switches and I would put my drumsticks down and stand up, and then Ronnie would be like, all right, we're still going. And we would play for another 45 minutes to an hour. After my legs.
A lot of times we would, in not taking those breaks, we wouldn't give people a chance to want to leave and go bar hopping.
Yep.
So we keep them there. And literally like bars, when we were that cover band, we were that band. We played a few originals, but you're playing 4 fucking hours. We had, I think it was 110 song.
Dude, it was ridiculous. Like it was 2 pages, double columns.
And
at least.
I had no papers. I had no, I had to remember.
We wrote them down once, and it was like I said, 2 columns.
I mean, like as far as like lyrics go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was all off the cuff.
But we'd end up playing 10 to 1, and then a lot of times these bar owners would come up to us. We'd play a couple encore songs, and then we'd actually start taking our shit off, and the bar would be like, "Hey, we'll give you another $100 to play another hour," and we'd be like, "Yep."
Okay.
We'd literally play everything we played from 10 to 11. We just fucking
recycle it,
repeat all that.
Or we'd start just hollering at the people in there and be like, hey, what do you want to hear? And they'd like tell us to play System of a Down. So we would pull off like Chop Suey or some shit.
That's how we came up with such a big set list.
Yeah, because like we would play a bullshit like half a song in that one show, and then we get to the next practice that we had, and be like, hey, remember when we played that half a song? Why don't we learn the whole thing? And we would just add it. And we just add it again. Yep. And it was just that's the way. That's the way half of our stuff.
Down song we played. I think we fucked around with aerials, but Every
Chop
time
Suey.
someone would ask us for System of a Down, we would play
Chop Suey.
that. No, it wasn't Chop Suey.
Yeah.
That was their big song.
Yeah,
Sugar.
it was
Sugar.
No, we didn't play Sugar all that often. It was Chop Suey because
But we did do Sugar.
We did Sugar. That was actually part of our set list. We never learned Chop Suey all the way through. That was our
No,
out of our butthole.
What song was on our list? Yeah.
On the set list was Sugar. Yeah. And I hated that song. I hated playing Sugar.
Song, dude.
No, it wasn't that hard on the drum beat because
it was hard.
It was like
because I had to go do 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 do.
Yeah, I mean, and you had to try to sing. You had to sing those weird syncopated, like almost talking. Oh man, his stuff was that stuff was like Chop Suey was fun because it was like the way that it started and the verses and everything like that were so different from everything. Like there was a really really fun song to play. But like playing Three Doors Down, hated playing Kryptonite. Hated playing Kryptonite.
We played Kryptonite. Oh my fuck. We'd play it 2-3 times a night.
Yep. Tom Petty. If I never hear Last Dance with Mary Jane again in my entire life, I'll be perfectly fine. That song.
Play it out when I play acoustic.
Oh my god, it makes me want to barf all over my desk. It's such a terrible song.
I don't mind it.
It's just like it's one of those ones that's so monotonous. It's not fun to play on the drums. Like I've never tried.
Riot was not fun because Riot would be requested long after you left. So not only did we have to play it when you were in the band, but when we moved on, like several drummers later, we're still getting asked to play that cover because everyone knew. Even when we played a bar, that we're gonna play for an hour, but we're at least gonna do 2 or 3 covers.
A couple of covers, like the reunion show that we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's jump into, like since you brought up the old times at the Thunderdome and the reunion show. You played the reunion 2, which I don't
Throwback Throwdown,
but we actually sold that venue out
and had to move it.
So what it was 2017.
Yep.
And we booked it at the Savory downtown in Watertown, and the club owner and the promoter and myself were there working a national. At the time I worked for an entertainment company also on the side, so I was there for another show, and the owner of the place said, it holds 600 people, and I said, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to have it here.
We're gonna need a little more.
Yeah, I looked at the promoter and I said, I don't know. And he's like, puffs up and he's like, national bands can't sell this place out, bud. And I said, Tirade can.
Bet.
So we booked it at the Savory downtown. We had pre-sales, all that stuff. Tickets hit the shelves, and
it was like the same weekend. 2 weeks max. Was it 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was 13 days, I think is what it was. But 13 days, we had sold all 600 tickets. We were sold out.
Yep.
Sold out. 2 weeks.
Yep. No, that was the only time, like I hadn't even touched a drumstick in easily like 6 or 7 years. Like I didn't have a drum set. I didn't have anything. And when you called me up and you're like, hey, you want to play this reunion, the second reunion show? And I'm like, hells to the yeah. And so I had to go, the only drums that I had, you remember that my show kit, how it was 2 kits pieced together?
Yeah, it was 2 actual full drum kits.
Yeah. Together. So I had 2 kick drums, 2 snares, and then 6 toms. On my show kit, I used one of the kick drums, one of the snares, and then 5 of the 6 toms, and then obviously my rack and all my cymbals and everything like that. I see pictures of that every now and then, and it breaks my heart that I let that kit go, man. I'm even if it's just sitting in an attic somewhere, I wish I still had that because that thing was epic.
It was a very, very nice kit.
Yeah. Who else did you ever have as in the band drumming that could stand and walk around their drum set? Nobody. That's who.
No. Yeah. Well, not many of them tried.
That's because they're all wimps. Anyway, so like I had a snare, a kick drum, and 1 tom. I had no cymbals, no stands, no pedals, no hi-hat, no nothing. I had to basically regain all of my stuff for that show. And at the same time, like I got rid of quite a few guitars that I had to re-equipped myself with that kit. And then I went out because that was right after my second daughter was born in 2016 that we started talking about it. So early 2017, like I'm starting to like rebuild my kit, and I've got this like full on actual drum set that I'm playing in a 14 by 7 foot studio in my house, and it was padded and soundproofed, but it didn't no.
It was not.
It was not. So not only did I have to do that, but I ended up buying a full-on electric kit so I could play through headphones and all that. My wife, who is a just amazing individual for putting up with my bullshit. Shout out to Rebecca here. But yeah, like I bought an electric kit so that all she had to hear was just like my drumsticks going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So as long as I didn't have it plugged into an amp, you couldn't hear it. But yeah, and then shortly after that show, I sold that kit for about $700 and made my money back on it.
Yep.
I haven't touched the drums since. I do have one of my drumsticks. The very last drumstick that I didn't break at that show is actually on the kind of like display shelf at our house. Because I had signed it. I signed a set. Like I had one set left, and some chick after the show wanted my last set of drumsticks. So I signed them both. Signed Rob the Tyrant, just like I always did, right? And she took both of them at some point, and then like I found the other one like laying around. So I picked up that drumstick and I kept it. So I still have one drumstick from my last show as an active percussionist.
Your actual like, because you never really got a goodbye show. You know
No,
what
I did
mean?
like because it
it's like-
wasn't when my last show when we played what was that place in Harrisville? Red Pine or whatever
Red
it was.
Pine, yeah.
Yeah,
Red
that was the last show that I played, but that wasn't the anticipation for it to be the last show. That was supposed to be like the last show before we took a break because my oldest was born because that show was in July. She was born in the early August, and then like shit kind of went sideways, and that wasn't supposed to be my last show. That's not what I had anticipated.
That was not planned. It was just
No, it was impromptu bullshit, and it
so,
like I said, if
what the show you got to come back to, like
was
Tirade had done 2 more albums and a bunch of other shit, and you come back and we sell out that venue and we moved it to a different venue, and there ended up being over 1,000 tickets sold. The only thing I'd like to apologize about, because I do feel bad now because that was the last time you played. We should have just fucking kept it at the air-conditioned fucking Savory Downtown, because 600 people with air conditioning, central air, would have been much more comfortable than what they tried to do at the X-Hall. And it was so high. It was 98 degrees that day. There was no fans in that barn.
It was stuffy. It was stuffy.
People would not stay. People would show up, come to our merch table, buy a shirt, buy a CD,
and then
say,
walk off.
Can't stay.
Or stick around for like the first 2 songs. Like after like the first half of the set, and we didn't take a break. Like shit just cleared out. People were just gone.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, man.
I mean, we still had 300 people in there in a hot room. It was like 350, I think, when we took.
No, it was more than that. I mean, it was.
No. By the time we were wrapping up, there was.
Oh yeah. Because we started and there was probably, I don't think there was over 1,000 at that point, but there was probably somewhere between 750 and 1,000 in that X-Hall when we started. And then it just like we were the last band. Everything was hot. All the gear, all the lights, everything. I mean, it was just like a furnace in there. It was getting so friggin' hot. I remember getting done and just beelining it for the door. And then like when you guys listen, hold on. When you tell me that I'm gonna play a solo, like I'll go play a solo for a few minutes, and I'm like, the next song is Blind, and I start Blind 3 goddamn times, and you guys are all just stoic over on the side, like we're just gonna let him keep going. I just like, I'm like, I get done, I'm like, I riff for a good couple of minutes, and then I started playing Blind, and I'm like,
first of all,
you coming? Come on, I'm done.
the set list. Rob drum solo, 5 minutes.
Well, 5 minutes playing a drum solo where
It's
you
100
know
You blame
degrees.
you
Tick.
know when you go more than
because Tick is the one who has to go back up on stage to start blind. I don't go up there.
here's the thing, like I probably could have gone and like done Hot for Teacher for like 15 minutes and not broken a sweat, but
Yeah.
like doing like actual rudiments and like technique type shit, your body's moving all over the place. It gets hot, bro. I'm sweating my face off. Like I had a bandana on. It was like, so I had a bandana on. It was a camo bandana, and I had my jeans on, and then my bright pink,
Go ahead,
my
grab
bright
it.
pink, my bright pink shirt. So this is what I wore for the final show. This is what I wore. Now this is for like the entirety of my career in tirade. We were told black shirt, jeans, whatever. Camo works if you gotta, but that's it. You don't wear bright colors. You don't look
Who
you
told
know,
you that?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna say because I'm supposed to be kissing his ass on this thing.
No,
So
15 minutes is up.
so yeah, that so that was always the rule. That was like hard fast, cut in stone. You weren't changing it. You weren't doing anything. If you fucked with it, you were done. And so I'm like, it's my only hurrah. And because I am who I am, and Ronnie is who Ronnie is, we're gonna push that envelope just a little bit. So that's what I did. I showed up. I told
You didn't
bro,
tell me about that shirt. You wore
bullshit. I didn't tell you about that shirt. I told you, said I'm gonna get myself a bright pink shirt. You
it.
said
I
no, you're
didn't
not.
fucking believe you, dude.
That's not
So-
him not telling you. If you didn't believe him,
I
that's
told
your
you.
own
I
damn
told
fault.
you.
I show
bro.
up to the fucking gig. I show up to the gig. The sound guy's
I've got
there. Everything.
I've got a camo bandana around my head. I've got my jeans on. I got my
I'm turning
really
in
light like
ticket money and discussing how the day's gonna go, and I hear
This-
Ronnie, and I fucking turn
Ronnie,
around
Ronnie,
and see that fucking motherfucker.
this gumball looking son of a bitch, gorgeous guy from what I understand, just beautiful. Up on like, I mean, it was a spectacle to watch. I had my bright white drum kit with my pretty brass bronze cymbals, everything shiny and new and looking lovely. My camouflaged kit or head on my kick, and then this bright pink shirt, just showing off for the world. Just it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment.
And I
It
had
was-
laryngitis.
You were not, and you know it. Don't even start.
That close.
And you were not. You were like yards away from it, at least a yard.
So what would you consider? Because you were really there for the. I consider you being there for what I would consider the grind of tirade, because
With
you really were
2 or
there
3 shows a week for 3 weeks out of 4. Yeah.
And I
As
mean,
a
not
grind.
only that, but we were growing the bass.
Yep.
We learned 110 covers, and we wrote our first. You were there for damn near the whole first. Like, we have old recordings with you,
Yeah.
on almost every song. And I think what was our first album? Like 15 songs. I think it was.
I thought it was
total?
12. I thought it was 12
Might have been
because we
12.
were
It was
we were
like-
at
yeah,
like
it was
11, and that's where Take This came from, because they
Yeah.
told us we needed one more to round out like all
We couldn't
albums have
11
at least
songs.
you can't have just 11 songs, you got to have 12 songs. And then
So I
we wrote,
consider you being there for the grind, because you were there for our first studio experience, our first writings, really there for the creative and everything like that. So you were there for the grind. So what would you consider the best show that you played with Tyree? Doesn't have to be the reunion show just because that was a big stage, but what?
anytime we were at the Thunderdome, because that was a
Keep
big
bringing it up.
venue. Dude, it was the best. It was the best venue. It was the most fun venue. The Thunderdome was by far my favorite, because that had the super tall stage, that had the huge PA system. Like, everything was tits about that venue, and it had the bar way at the back in the actual show venue, and it was always and it was always assholes and elbows. Always, every single show was just front to back packed.
Yep,
Every time,
all the
every
time.
time. I
That
love
was
that
fun.
venue.
So the Thunderdome was on Factory Street in Watertown. It was connected to Mix Place. Mix was the actual bar where like you could go hang out and play pool and this and that. And then on the other side of that building was the Thunderdome, and it was just this jet black painted, massively
It
long
was
room
dark.
with about a 6 foot stage, house lights, all that. You had to hire out some. We had a really big PA system. And
Yep.
our PA system would not touch that room. We
Yeah,
had
we
to
had to
hire
hire out.
But at the time when bars were only paying $300, Mix was paying $1,000 to $1,200. So you had that wiggle room to hire a real big sound company. So I get that, yeah. So what would you consider the worst show?
Dude, there were so many just absolute bullshit dive bars where we'd show up and we'd get about 3/4 of the way done with the first hour, and we'd be like, paid practice, dude. That's
Yeah.
like that was the motto for those. It was like, yeah, paid practice.
Paid practice.
It is what it is. Those were
Playing for the
hard.
bartenders.
Yep, those were hard to get into because the shows where people were going nuts, like you fed off of their energy, and the shows where everybody looked perturbed that you were there in the first place were like, why am I even here? Just like, there was man, it was one of the very first times we were in Watertown, and we played this like hole in the wall crap ass bar. It was like 13 feet wide and like 27 feet deep. Was it Shooters?
Shooties.
Shooties, yes.
Shooters, yeah.
And the stage was literally like right next to the bathroom, so people had to walk around
It was a fucking
whatever,
bro.
whatever it was, whatever we were on. Like people had to walk up on that around us to get to the bathroom, and like that was one back in the day before we started to have any kind of following, right? That we would play for the door. Those shows, everybody's like, oh yeah, on any given band night, we'd have 100 people in here. Well, $300 or $3 a head for 100 people, even if we only draw a few of our own. There's $350, whatever. We're like, that's better than nothing just to kind of start. And like 7 people would show up, and we'd play for like $21 in beer. That's that was the yeah. Those any of those shows were absolute hogwash. Is bullshit.
It was paid practice, bro.
It was paid practice. It wasn't even paid practice, dude. We spent more money to get there and drive home than we made. It was.
But we had to look at it as we had no CDs, we had no shirts,
right?
We had no following. We were just getting in anywhere that would let us play to anyone that would let us make noise. And even out of 7 people, normally 5 people would come up to us and be like, "So who are you guys? What's going on?" And that's we'd
get something out of it, but it was never monetary. It was, and then yep. But I mean, you got to go through those to get to where we ended. Even before, even when I left, I mean, we were playing way bigger venues, and we were playing in front of the people that we played, or behind people that we played in front of, up until that point.
And we were just mostly a cover band at that point. We were starting to be. We had such a big wave of fandom that this cover band known as Tirade was pushing the original bands in the area back. It was a little odd, actually.
But at that point, even though we were a cover band, we had 2 songs that people asked for religiously all night long. Over and over and over again. Outburst and Why. Yep. And Outburst was a good song. Why was filler bullshit. I hated that song. I don't know.
I wrote that song, you dick.
No, I wrote the guitar part. You wrote the lyrics. I wrote the guitar part. I can't remember what.
You wrote the verse. I wrote the chorus.
Whatever. I wrote part of it and I hated it. Hated it.
I don't care. That was so fun. It was one of the very few songs that Tick ripped a fucking solo.
That's true. That is true.
He had such. I hope I can find a recording of it just to play that solo. But he went in there and just freestyled a solo.
Yep.
When we were recording with your Uncle Dwight in your grandparents' basement with a full bar. with really,
Yes.
really old liquor.
Very old liquor. And
a
him
little
coming.
a little 4-track demo tape recording fucking gear.
No, that
And we
wasn't a
had-
demo. That wasn't a demo. That wasn't a demo tape. That was an actual like a digital 4-track, if I remember right. I know he used to have.
Oh, it
He
was the
had a.
CD. Yeah.
Yes, it was. It had the CD burner, but it was
Yeah.
because it was a CD burner. You could do more than 4 tracks.
Right.
But when we were in Indiana, that was a 4-track. That was like you recorded 4 tracks and then bounced them down to 1, and then recorded 3 more, and then bounced them down to 1 and recorded 3 more.
But
And it got
we had to play live. We had no click track, no
nope.
fucking, whatever.
We were guessing.
Tick went in, we punched him in, we said, okay, you get one shot at a solo. And he just ripped fire.
That was a good one.
I remember both me and you and even Dwight were just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, that was a good recording. And those are the days that I miss more than anything. Is it wasn't as much a business at that point. You know what I mean? It was like we were still having a shit time. I mean, it was fun all the way up through. It was never not fun. But like being in Indiana when you and I went down there to record.
That's why there was sometimes really, really wasn't fun.
Like what? Like what wasn't fun?
Bro. There's some parts that weren't that fun.
I mean, some parts. Not many. Not many.
Losing
Like
our first battle of the bands.
Oh, dude, so pissed. All of us were so pissed. First off,
But I'm just
saying
that like
we had our full gear, and they would not let me set up my own drum set for like the first 2 songs. I'm trying to get acclimated to this like Hobbit's fucking drum set that I had to play on, where his throne was literally like 2 inches off of the ground. I couldn't double kick because every time I did, I'd hit myself in the chin with my knee. I couldn't like to try to play on somebody else's stuff. It was impossible. And then we lose.
drummers are a little fucking complacent.
Well, I mean, it's like having your own set of golf clubs, dude. Like you get used to your own kit, and to go to somebody else's, you're like, I don't know what this thing is.
First of all, try having a microphone where everyone's mostly taller than you.
Dude.
Everyone's mostly taller than you, and they have it on a mic stand. And when you take that mic and tip it down, all the spit from all the singers that were there before you runs into your mouth. Just a little bit.
Nope. That's why I didn't sing, bro. Among other
just
reasons.
Lower the mic stand.
That's
Why didn't you just lower the mic stand instead of bending it down?
It looks cooler.
Yeah.
So that's your own fault for eating that spit.
Maybe I liked it.
I know you did.
Maybe.
I'm just saying. So, let's see here. So,
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Yo.
Jump in.
So, because of Ronnie's shirt and because we have to bring it up every single episode now, obviously Ronnie took a lot of inspiration from the lead singer of Rage, and Tick took a lot of inspiration from Tom Morello in Rage. Did you at all emulate Brad Wilk?
Not even a little bit. I hate
bit?
Rage Against the Machine with every fiber of my being.
Okay.
Mostly Tom Morello. Tom Morello, I will say this with a straight ass face. Tom Morello is a shit guitarist. He is one of the worst people that I've ever. He's like the Lars Ulrich of guitar. He's absolute like
trash talk in so few words. Holy fuck.
Like if it's not like
the whole music community,
dude. No, I can't because there are most of them I have mad respect for. But when your entire thing is gimmicks with like I got an Allen wrench, go ticka 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 ticka, like come on, bro. Like learn a fucking arpeggio, please.
So
definitely not.
And what's his face? The lead singer. I don't even know his name.
Zach
I have that little respect for him. Thank you.
Yo,
but like his lyrics are like every song consists of like maybe about 15 words. That's it.
Oh, wait,
he's got a cool voice. Dude, find me one that has more than 5 individual lines in the song. You can't.
Literally every single fucking song, bro. Do you want
all of which are American dreams? All of which are American dreams. Oh, it's like when he sings, it's like he record like somebody had a old record and it skipped, and he just keeps getting the same thing. Fuck you! I won't do what you like. This over and over and over again.
First of all, you gotta stop. We're gonna rip that right off. No,
rip that minute.
So the first band I was in, the first band ever, Rob was actually not the drummer. It was a kid named Joe Taquino. It was me, Joe Taquino, and Tick, and then we brought Wes along. Rob was really my like buddy in high school who played drums. So we'd play drums together on study halls. We'd get together on weekends when I didn't want to go hang out with them or whatever, and we'd jam. And yeah, so he didn't have to play all the Rage Against the Machine song. And I remember I started a band with you after that band, and you straight up said rule number one.
And like the other stuff that you were playing, like the POD stuff, I was cool with. Like everything else, I was fine with.
POD.
We played POD. Yeah.
And we played Tool, and we played the Deftones, and we
played all that stuff.
We played Limp Bizkit.
Yep.
Korn.
Yep.
Yeah.
We played a lot of that except Rage Against the Machine. And there are a handful that I would play if you really, really wanted to. But it never came up to the point where it got pushed that hard. And to be honest, like in Tirade, I don't feel like you had any semblance of the Rage Against the Machine influence in there at all. Like the lyrics didn't kind of follow that repetitive nature. The tone of like the singing was more than like, you know, it was very kind of new metalish almost, but not new metal, where it wasn't really singing, it wasn't really like talking, it was some kind of in between. With Rage Against the Machine,
it got compared a lot to Deftones and Mudvayne.
Yes, we were very, very like that. A lot of our stuff was like really, really, you know, chunky and heavy in the verses, and then like melodic and power ballady kind of, not power ballad, but you know.
Oh no, we had power.
We did have power ballads, but you know, it would go from like two completely different songs within one, and that was mainly because, like you said earlier, I would write part of it, Tick would write another part of it, and we were both writing so completely differently that it worked. It fit very, very well together. Like to go on Swim with Your Pants On. I mean that to go to the the chorus after that.
We had power ballads, we had kind of acousticy songs, we had more upbeat songs, and then we had like the down-tuned like fucking songs, and then we had the songs that made no sense, like Take This.
Yes.
And yeah, just it was it was weird how all over the place we were, and then.
But it all sounded It all sounded like it fit together. Like all the songs.
I mean, yeah, but it was
like wildly, with the exception of like Why and
Satisfied.
And Satisfied. Those were about the only two outliers. Maybe to a small degree, Outburst, because that was a little slower tempo. But that was also like heavier.
That ended up being one of the most requested, like when we started writing originals, everybody wanted Outburst.
And to look at what Outburst started at versus what Outburst ended at, like it was very ballady to start, and then when we got done with it, like the evolution, it got heavier, it got chunkier, it got more distorted, it got a little faster, and it went from, you know, a very cool kind of more melodic power ballad to something that was not a power ballad, but it wasn't like a heavy hitting like metal song. It was some kind of something in between, and that was one of my favorite songs to play because of that.
It was I really liked it for that was one of my favorite fuck you. That was one of my favorite like lyrically written songs, even though
that was a good song.
I look back on it now and it's very dated to me now. But
yeah, because I mean, like all your stuff was personal experiences. So
very proud of that song because that was one of the first ones we wrote, and I feel like we could still play it today. Mm-hmm. And not only would people still know it, but I think it would still actually hold up today. Yeah. Even though I feel like lyrically it wasn't my best work, but I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? Let me ask you, what song that you recorded with us are you most proud of your drum like the way you put the drums into it?
Man, it was so hard because the recording studio that we were at was so shoddy. Like I couldn't hear what I was doing in my headset. Like the click track and everything like that just got completely lost.
I wouldn't say shoddy.
So
Big shout out to Thunder.
no, I mean not shoddy, but like just I think
Yeah.
like
It was more. That album was $5,000, and when Tirade did their last album,
Yeah.
that was close to 20 grand. You
Yeah.
got what you paid for. Like it was a
Absolutely.
studio in Norfolk, New York. It was just
it was small, and I think
could.
they were kind of on the uptick of the learning curve. But like I said, what I was doing on the drums, like playing live, I would say that probably Bottom of the Barrel was one of my favorite songs to play. That was one of the ones that I was most proud of, rhythmically and everything like that. I wasn't super pleased with a lot of the way that the drums were recorded on that first album because of like the logistical issues that we had trying to hear the click tracks. And then eventually once we got to the point where we're like, yeah, just screw the click tracks, we're going to just put a bass in the background so that we know what's going on, and then we'll overdub the bass and the tempo is going to be what the tempo is going to be. Even then
our whole first album, Lost and Found, which is like you said, like 12. All of those songs were recorded live, no click.
Yep, no click tracks. And because of that, I didn't get crazy with the fill and the technicality and all of the stuff that I could have, just because I was trying to keep it clean and just get it done.
Well, and it was the first time all of us recording. Like if you listen
Right.
to that album, then you listen to With Death Comes New Life, and then you listen to Uprise, you can hear the difference in the evolution in me and how I got more comfortable with recording and how I learned tricks on recording and all that stuff.
Yep.
So really, like I said, the grind, you never got a chance to go into a studio multiple times. Like Tick and myself did get to do. I think Timmy actually recorded 2 albums too. So yeah, but as far as drummers go, we never had a drummer on 2 albums.
Yeah. So. And as far as like right now, I feel like I could go into a studio and knock out whatever. I mean, especially like if you wanted me to go into a studio on guitar, like that would be no problem whatsoever. I mean, as of right now, I sit here and I practice for at least an hour a day, at least. You know, I'm still doing it. I'm just not doing it live, which I miss a lot, mostly because I have an inferiority complex, and I like people to look at me and say, "Look at that guy." So there's that. So I miss the admiration. I don't really care about much of that. I just like that was like my happy place. And when I lost it, I was pissed about it. And like I said earlier, man, it was not a decision that I would have probably made a second time. If I had it to do over, it's not what I would have done. So I mean, there's at least that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it did for people listening and that don't know about the feud between me and you. It got pretty dirty.
It did
when you started throwing social media into the mix. And,
oh man, it was.
Tirade kept going, and you did not like that.
No,
and it kept it for 5 years. Like you and me got more and more heated, and the fights and the verbal shit started being actually like really fucking bad.
Yeah. One of the things that
we are now.
Hey. Yeah, hey buddy. But yeah, one of the things that did like, and I've told you this before, one of the things that chapped my ass is when you did the interview with Fourth Coast, when you guys decided that you were going to call it quits, and you said basically you wanted to spend more time with your family, and that was initially.
I was hoping you'd bring this
that was my initial reason for taking a hiatus, and then that hiatus obviously turned into abandonment, because I'm a terrible dad and I abandoned my kids. But so anyway, no. But yeah, I mean, as far as that, like it when you put that in there, that really, like, I probably at that point was getting a little less like I didn't care, and then I saw that pop up on Facebook, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm pissed again.
Let me say for the record again, interviews are really touchy, and Tirade had been around for 10 years.
Yeah,
And I did want more time with my family. That wasn't the biggest reason. That wasn't the only reason. That was the reason I gave the paper.
that's what they put in there. Yeah.
Because, and no, that was the reason I told them, because my thoughts were the truth is too fucking deep. Nobody wants to hear that anyway. And if you say you want to spend more time with your family, I mean, who's going to
Nobody's going to give you shit.
besides you?
Yeah.
Which, touche,
Yeah.
when you did say, oh, I couldn't spend more, and I was like, I mean, yes. And
Yeah.
the truth
Like,
is there were so many factors to Tirade disbanding
Yeah.
that it would be a whole nother episode. And when I have Tick back on, maybe I will dive into that for people. I think people would be interested in that, because the truth has never really come out as to why, and Tick and I could discuss that, and Alex could mediate. I think that'd actually be pretty good. But yeah, there were a lot of reasons to it. But yeah, I get that. I get you being upset with that, because literally when you watch, and like you said, you do regret walking away at the time, but at the time that was your reason for leaving, and then I had the balls to go and say that 5 years later.
and it wasn't like it when my initial thing was I was under the impression that we were all on the same page in the beginning of August or end of July that year when Ada was born, and I wanted to take, like, I kind of thought, like, the month of August, I wasn't going to think about the band. I wasn't going to be practicing with the band. I wasn't going to be playing shows with the band. We were going to get together back at the beginning of September, start practicing, and then, hit it hard after that. I just, like, my anticipation was I was going to take a break. And then you were scheduling shows, or had a show scheduled either before I took that break or whatever, for like the beginning or like the first weekend or second weekend of September. And I just had a lot of voices, in the back of my head, just jumping out at me. And at that point, like, I was pissed off. I didn't know who to be pissed off at. In reality, it probably shouldn't been directed at the band. I should have, but I've always been, and this too, like, I have always been kind of an act first, and
No,
worry about the consequences later. And that was a bridge that I burned that I shouldn't have. And then,
but it got
like,
repaired, because Tirade officially retired in June of 2013, and then we had the first reunion show in 2016. And
I wanted to be on that. I wanted to be on that first one so bad. I can't tell you, dude. I cannot. You don't understand how badly I wanted to be in that first one.
Yeah, that first one was 3 years of me not being in the same room with any of those guys. we hadn't talked, like, since like, we started talking maybe 6 months, 8 months before we scheduled the reunion show, and that was the first time we were all in the same fucking place. So that was a big deal for us too. And we only practiced once in 3 years and pulled that show off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, and I wish we wouldn't have practiced, because I really didn't want to play the show after we practiced, because that was fucking bad. But it was really, Tick will tell you the next time he's on, I'll bring that up. But Tick will tell you, like, I was so upset that we even had a band practice. I was like, what the fuck?
And see that,
and once we get on stage and the fog hits and the lights hit and fucking the adrenaline kicks in, no amount of practicing can get,
it doesn't matter.
Ready for
Yep.
Tirade played so many shows, we didn't even practice for like the last 2 years. We never practiced, because we played all the fucking time. We didn't have to.
I mean, like, the majority of our practices back when, like, we were playing all those shows, like, doing, like, all the cover band stuff, was not to practice the stuff that we knew. It was to add stuff to the set. That's what they were for. We didn't practice. We figured out new stuff.
Yeah, I remember I flipped out on Matt one time, because he didn't want to play the new songs that we were debuting a week after the show that we were at, and I put some of the new songs on our new album on this so we could give it a dry run before our album release. and he was very upset because we hadn't worked on it enough. And I remember I flipped out in the middle of the street. People all around us literally went total Rondolph. And I just said, why am I here having this conversation? These songs have been recorded for 6 months. If you haven't been practicing them, I obviously didn't say it this calmly, but I was just like, I know my shit. I looked at Tick. I was like, do you know your shit? Tick's like, yeah. He knew better than to say no. I looked at Timmy. I was like, do you know your shit? I don't think he answered me. And then I just said, we're debuting these songs next week. What's the difference between, if you guys were going to cram for it, you better go on the bus and start listening. Like I was fucking, yeah, but yeah. We didn't need to practice. I saw no reason for practicing when, if I know my shit, you should know your shit. And you were really big on that too. If we're going to practice, it's going to be to progress or to write or to learn a new song.
Yeah,
we always
you either know it or you don't.
After we trained a new member, we would train a new member, after you left, and we would say, okay, you know your shit. Now it's up to you to stay sharp on it. And we no more practices unless we're going to write or we're going to learn or something like that. Like that was we stuck with that rule.
Yep. So, that was the best way to do it.
Well, thank you. I thought it was too. Why should I waste my time?
Why would I disagree with that point? You and I were the ones that agreed. That's like one of the big key things that we agreed on.
Why would I waste my time to come over when I know my shit?
Yep.
Why would I waste my time to come over and make sure you know your shit? Like that's just I think every band should do that. Honestly.
Yeah.
But
like, and a lot of with me, a lot of the stuff when we were bringing new material in, that was the time in the practices. That was the time that I was listening to the song for the first time, because I was not a huge, listen to the radio and what's on new and everything like that. I had like 3 CDs that were in my car all the time, and it was probably Black Label Society, Breaking Benjamin, and Avenged Sevenfold. Like those 3 were the only CDs, and I did have a Van Halen CD because it came in the car when I bought it from the guy. So yeah. I mean, it had Eruption on it, and
we would hook up a DVD player.
Yes.
To the mixer, because you could play CDs through the DVD player, and that was an easy way to hook up a whole CD setup. And we'd blast it through the PA, and we'd all play along to it till we figured it out.
Speaking of blasting through the PA, do you remember playing Halo with the PA and two different? Dude, it was rad. I mean,
how old were you when Halo 1 came out?
What year?
No, it was Halo 2. It was Halo 2.
Halo 2. I'm sorry.
It was such a weird thing. You said Avenged Sevenfold. My best friend Josh has an Avenged Sevenfold tattoo, and he was the first person I ever played Halo with. Halo 2 at his house.
Yeah.
But
so,
I mean,
so we had this 5,000 watts of towers and speakers and everything like that in my parents' basement. That's where we practiced. And we got the bright idea one day that we're gonna like do a 2-on-2 death match with I think it was you and Tick, and then Boober and me playing Halo. So we hooked up 2 TVs and took the audio jacks and put them into each side of the board for the PA and turned it on and let her loose all the way up. And we had the speakers as far away as we can get them on either side of the, the 50 feet of basement that we were in. And then, you'd be playing along, and then off to the opposite side of the room, you would hear, and it would disappear. And then eventually it would show up over here and you'd die. It was just like,
like you could hear the rocket. Like we did that one where kind of on Red versus Blue, if you've ever watched that YouTube series, whatever, the 2 base map where there's
like in the canyon.
Yeah,
we would shoot a rocket over here. You'd hear it disappear, and then you would hear it coming, and it'd start
for a good 20 seconds,
and then all of a sudden go like right. Oh yeah, we had 4 15-inch speakers and 2 18-inch subwoofers with 5,000
watts of crown power.
Yeah.
Yep. That was rad, dude. That was like best non-show or playing kind of like memories were all crap like that. Speaking of best memories, does grass grow in that spot yet?
No, does not.
Still to this day.
To this day, I have a dead patch of grass in my backyard because we had a band barbecue, and his girlfriend got sick, and threw up on a spot in my lawn, and the grass will still not grow in that spot.
That is some toxic vomit. What the fuck?
Yeah,
She's like a
I don't
super
know,
villain, man.
Yeah.
No
Is
clue.
it acid vomit? What the fuck?
I don't
She needs
know.
to be part of the Avengers. What the fuck are we talking
needs-
about here?
She needs to be in
X-Force.
Deadpool 3.
X-Force.
It is wild.
Yeah, man.
Well, Rob Baker, we are going to do what I like to bring up, rapid fire.
Ooh.
So, rapid fire with Ronnie Vegas. This is, I fire questions at you. You got 60 seconds to answer. And the answers are subjective. So
Okay.
you have to answer them the way I'd answer them.
Okay.
So
The way that
far-
you would answer them. The way that you would answer them?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
shit.
subjective to Ronnie. So even
Oh.
if you get him wrong, he's going to give you what the answer is to him.
Every guest so far has gotten one. 1 for 5.
No, Elijah
Rob-
didn't get any.
I thought, yeah, Elijah got one.
No.
Dude, if Tick doesn't get more than one, I'm not getting more than one. Tick's
got
known you
one.
longer. Tick's known you longer than anybody on the planet.
Tick got Lemmy as God. Eventually.
No, he didn't.
Eventually.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He got that one wrong. I watched that
he
one.
got
that one
there
wrong.
eventually.
Eventually,
Yeah, but he got it
like in a
wrong first.
roundabout sort of way.
Yeah.
Trick question. Lemmy is God.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that one.
So, yeah, so you got it. We'll see how you do. I don't know.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't. Oh,
We're gonna learn today.
The confidence oozes from this.
It's
fella.
not confidence. It's
Actually, you know
all
what, Alex?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Baker?
No, not really. I enjoyed listening. It was great.
Very
I
good.
mean, yeah.
I'm great.
Halo 2 came out in 2004, by the way.
What's that?
I just googled it. Halo 2 came out in 2004.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So that, yep.
Yeah.
that would be
I didn't
early
play it
days of
until like
piracy.
2010.
Oh wow!
I wasn't allowed to
my-
play video games when I was younger.
My best friend, the guy that I live with right now, he has it on his Xbox or his Xbox.
I was gonna say
So-
also 4 weeks ago they reactivated the multiplayer servers for Halo 2 on the original Xbox.
Yes.
Wow.
Slayer.
I still have the original Xbox and the original Halo. I should
Yep.
fire that puppy up.
Yep.
Listen to that thing start up like a jet turbine.
Well, every single time anything had to happen where somebody was going to start a fight, Ronnie would say Slayer, like on Halo 2.
Kilimanjaro.
I was gonna say he does all of that shit when we're playing Halo with Josh. He does all of that shit.
Yeah, we log in
Slayer.
and I'll just be like, Slayer.
And he was always so perfect, yeah.
Took the lead. Lost the lead. Took
Exactly.
the lead.
I haven't played Halo.
That was
in
the
a
worst
minute.
one. I hated that one because it would go back and forth so much when the game was close. It took the lead, lost the lead. It just keep going back and forth. Anyway,
Yep.
rapid fire with special guest Rob Baker. Here we go. 30 seconds on the clock, and here we go. Best drummer.
Neil Peart. Neil
No,
Peart.
the drummer for Eloquar. Best band manager.
Ronnie effing Simser.
No, Brian Leonard.
Brian Leonard. heh heh.
Best bass player you know.
Jimmy Bristol.
No. Oh,
Don't start.
No, Chris Riordan. I'm sorry. Best
Oh,
singer
Chris-
you know.
Ronnie friggin' Vegas.
You got one. Best nickname for a venue that we ever played at.
Snatches.
No, the bucket of blood.
Oh, the bucket of blood.
Rapid fire with Ronnie Vegas. Rob got one right. You better have
I
got
would've-
that fucking one right.
I would have sworn it was Snatches.
Thanks for coming on, man. I'd love to have you back sometime in the future. Yeah, man. It's Ronnie Vegas episode, Ronnie Vegas podcast, episode 7 in the books. Rob Baker, thanks for being here, man.
Peace.
That's it.
Perfect. Cut it right there.
All right, everybody. Alex, Mr. DeJoy, bring us out, baby.
No, that was good. We already cut. Like this is over. Like we're good. Like it's done.
We're done.
Yeah,
We're
peace was
fucking
in, dude.
done.